Hey, wonderful people, a pleasant morning to you. So, on a lighter moment, but important moment, I know some people, they have this way of saying some things that we don't deduce completely. We don't dissect and really use critical thinking skills and comprehension skills in employing different perspectives. And I'm talking about, we have this tendency to talk about people are materialistic. And I understand there are people who put the material, the made, the inanimate object over the real people. You know what I mean? So they love things more than they love people. And unfortunately, that may be a big part and parcel of their upbringing. They were not taught how to value the next human being. They were not taught that fundamental second part B of the first commandment: love thy neighbor, treat thy neighbor as how you would want to be loved and treated, where you now reciprocate as you get older. But I want to tell you additionally that being materialistic is important, but not paramount. So it is not the ultimate. So, you know, the ultimate, for example, is to love God with 100% of your heart, 100% of your soul, 100% of your mind, 100% of your strength. With me? Good. The second most important thing is to love, you know, your spouse or your friends and so on. And you can put percentages to it as long as it's not 100%. So you may say 60, 70, 80. You don't go above 80%. You know, so I would say, let's just put it at the maximum. 80% of your heart. And and the 80% is very specific. It would be for like your spouse, your children, your mother, father, somebody who has been in your corner, who has developed a deep and intimate relationship with you. And my intimacy is not only relegated to romance, but a deep and abiding friendship as well. So, you know, it can be 80, 70, 60, 50, for example. So you love them with 80%, 70%, 60, 50% of your heart, mind, soul, and strength. The material, so you notice I said 100% all the way, full way, absolute, 100% paramount, God, second, humans, and then, you know, yourself would follow in tandem with the people that you love. And then the material now, you probably give a percentage, you may say 30, 40%. Because if you don't have a sense of materialism inside of you, you will carry yourself shabby and shoddy, and it will carry over in your spiritual walk with God. So the very same way you treat yourself, you don't care for yourself, you smell horrible, you look horrible, you look disheveled, you look very bad, like you're run over by a bus and a freight train in one. You look like you were crushed by a gigantic monster, and you smell awful, you look really, really bad. You will carry that over in other areas of your life eventually. So if aesthetically you don't care for yourself, it will spill over in your spiritual walk, in your social life, in your education life, in your financial living. You can't separate you from you. So being materialistic is important, but not paramount. Be careful of people who come and say, oh, you're material. You have to be. That is part and parcel of what drives you to work hard. It is innate. It is made within us. We have to have some semblance of being materialistic. It should not consume you. It should not supersede God. It should not supersede humans. But you have to be. You ought to look good. You ought to look good. Because if you can take the time out to fix up yourself and to buy decent clothing, shoes, jewelry, whatever you want to call it, to accentuate, you know, your lives and your physical make-up, you will do the same as it relates to other areas in your life. You will attempt to, even if you're not great at it, even if you mess up, but you're going to attempt to, because that energy is within you. So it's going to filter out. You look good physically, you want to look good in your job, you want to look good when you go out, you want to look good when somebody gives you a they give you tasks to do, or a task to do. Being materialistic is important, not paramount. Look good. I remember years ago I went to a financial guru. He's a financial guru, he's a maestro. He said, do not buy, he says, buy expensive clothes, don't buy cheap things. clothes, shoes, jewelry, whatever it may be. Don't go too expensive, especially as it relates to clothes, because you may end up gaining weight, losing weight. I know sometimes it either takes longer for either of the two to either come off or go on. Well, it's easier for it to go on than come off. And depends on your genetics, the food you eat, your stress level, so many different things, age, one host of factors. I remember the individual said that they're teaching about finance. Yeah. Have you ever heard the term the cheapest become the dearest? It's like a man going out and buying a shoes for 1,000 Jamaican dollars or 2,000. You're lucky if him can walk out of the store and the collapse like Jericho wall on him foot. And him go back and buy another 2,000, get a half a day out of it. He goes back and buy. You see what I'm saying? By the time he's finished, that 2,000 add up to 50,000. While he could have just spent maybe up to, let us say up to $20,000. Because since our dollar is not so strong. And just buy a solid shoes, especially if he's going to use it frequently, you know, and depending on his line of work. I'm not saying not everybody can find the 20,000 in one sweep. I'm making the inference that it is better to not be penny wise and pound foolish. It is better to not be penny wise and pound foolish. Invest in yourselves. Material is important. When I hear people say they criticize people for the makeup they wear, they criticize people for the car that they drive, the huge house, then who is going to buy the houses if everybody's hitting out against it? You're wasting your money. Somebody has to buy those houses. Somebody has to buy the top end car. Somebody has to buy the top end jewelry, the top end bags. You name them out. If you can't afford it, there's somebody else who can, and it won't hit their pockets. They're not spending badly. What they're doing, that is the means that they're living within. If their means is that they can afford to buy 10 Louis Vuitton bags, that is their means. And it doesn't put them in expense. It doesn't affect their savings and investment. That is their means. If you can't do it, that is fine. Nobody's saying that you must do that. What I'm simply saying is that being material is important, not paramount. God first, human seconds, and then your material. Take care of yourselves. Because when you're like that, you will carry that same energy in how you charter your courses in other areas. When you see people, and I'm not talking people who live on the street because of circumstances or if you're insane, leave those people or sick or whatnot. I'm talking level-headed people, sane people. If you see them working hard and they're so cheap, I am telling you, if you get yourselves entangled with them, and I don't mean only romantically, they will watch the tsunami come and swallow you whole and not do whatever they can to save you. I'm telling you that. Not just guessing and spelling. When you see them cheap, stinginess follow meanness follow wickedness after that, and evil. If you're not if you don't have the wherewithal to afford it, that's a different case altogether. I don't want people to bring in what if sometimes I hear when people do that because we're not factoring in that. You have to wait until you're in a situation where you can. But in the same breath, for some things, you better even save and then bite. There you go with something. Unless it's, you have some things on sale and some things are what you may call reasonable and it looks good and all of that. You wait. But the material is important. You ought to take care of yourselves. It's significant. Man looks at the outward appearance. You can never ever get away from that. No matter how we do and do. Look at the man in fairly recent time did about the 10 ugliest women alive in Jamaica. And did a part 2 to it. And people supported it. There were people who agreed. I'm just telling you that man looks at, when I say man, I'm talking man and woman. Or men and women. They look at the outward appearance. It's a God that looks at the heart, but he expects that you use wisdom to take care of the outward appearance. So you have to be materialistic. It is important, but not paramount. Shouldn't be paramount. But you do have those who prefer, things. And in some cases, in fairness to them, in a sense, not saying I support it, people have done them so bad so many times that they said, you know what, I just going to try and look and invest in things and not people. Not saying it is right, because they're good people. They just have to search. But don't make anybody tell you that being materialistic is bad. You just don't make it become paramount. All right, guys, you know what to do with your TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe and give me one of those lions, please, and thank you.